Welcome to this week's weekly weather briefing. It is Saturday, August the 26th, 2017, our last August weekly weather briefing. I will be posting another video late this evening on our September outlook and what we can expect for the month of September. Right now, most of that looks like a wild card, but I will give it my best shot. Right now, let's focus on Hurricane Harvey and its impacts on the southeast Texas coast. It did landfall as a Category 4 hurricane, as you can tell, this number 4 right down here right before it made landfall in just northeast of Corpus Christi. So it went a little bit further south than some people thought, and it did hit a very populated area along the Gulf Texas coast. So we'll have to watch and see the news over the next couple of days and see all of the damage coming out of those areas. I know Rockford, Texas got hit very hard. So there are several communities that are already dealing with a lot of trauma from this event, and we are just getting started. This will continue to spin and move off towards the northwest, but eventually it will begin to take a lot of a bigger turn, and we'll begin to see this storm sort of kind of meandering around in the same area and stalling out as it slows down, but continues to bring in Gulf of Mexico moisture and will battle this region of the United States for the next week or so, battling them with rain and wind definitely over the next couple of days and over the next week at the least. So we'll have to watch this very closely and see how the flooding all takes place. Some very scary and haunting, eerie numbers of rainfall totals estimated are coming out of some of these models over the last couple of days and have been very consistent in it. So this is definitely a scary situation, definitely something that we're going to have to watch over the next week and watch very closely. As we go into our neck of the woods, we are quiet on this Saturday, definitely not dealing with a hurricane, but we are dealing with a couple of showers that are trying to move into parts of the Boot Hill of Missouri and parts of southeast Missouri, but we are dealing with sunshine and a couple of high cirrus clouds moving into the region. We could see some Faraday cumulus clouds form in the afternoon, and then we will begin to see that sunshine really take hold throughout most of the day with a couple of those afternoon cumulus clouds taking place. But this will just be moisture coming out of Hurricane Harvey, and it will be spreading towards our direction. So we could be looking at over the next week several days of clouds and precipitation. We'll have to watch that part of the precipitation department is a little bit sketchy at this point. We're not really sure what days we need to monitor for rain chances, but at this point it does look like just about every day clouds will be streaming southward from the south northward towards our region out of Hurricane Harvey, thanks to all of the moisture that it is spreading our way. So that means humidity levels over the next week will begin to increase, and temperatures just a little bit, depending on cloud cover each and every day, will depend on how warm our temperatures will get. Right now, let's look at the next week, and it does look like we're going to be looking at one cold front coming through in particular, but it won't be coming through until around Monday evening or early Tuesday morning. I do have this on play right here, and you can tell Hurricane Harvey at the beginning of this animation is right here, and you can tell how it just meanders around the southeast Texas coast. Meanwhile, it's spreading moisture just about each and every day towards our region, so I can't rule out daily shower and thunderstorm chances around 30%. That does look likely, but we are honing in on Monday evening and early Tuesday morning as our best opportunity for some showers and thunderstorms as a cold front nears our region. By the end of this week and into the beginning of next weekend, it does look like we will see a colder shot of air come into our region, and it is going to bring with it some cooler temperatures, it looks like, for next weekend and the beginning of next work week. But over the next week, humidity levels will begin to increase just a little bit, and we will also be looking at temperatures increasing just a little bit and kind of leveling off towards around average to a degree or two below average over the next week. If we look at what the 500 millibar pattern looks like, you can tell Hurricane Harvey right there. And with it being right there, we will see a little bit of an upper level trough over the next couple of days. So temperatures will still be kind of below average, but still warming up just a little bit. And then during the middle of the week, we will see that ridge sort of pump into the west, and we will never really see a full on ridge take place in our region. We'll see a little bit of ridging try to take place towards the end of next week, towards the end of this week and the beginning of this upcoming weekend, but it doesn't look like we're going to be looking at a full-on, reprieve of cool air or a heat wave really coming into the region, just sort of average for this time of the year, around 88, 89 degrees. Looks to be average, but I do think that we'll be really around 85, 86, 87 degrees for the most part. Can't ever roll out a day or two where we pump up to around 88 or 89 degrees. I do not think we will get above 90 degrees any this week. here's that trough at the end of this animation showing how it comes out of the north, and it will begin to move into our region by this upcoming weekend and the beginning of next week. And it does look like a strong trough at that, and that will be opening up the month of September and meteorological fall. As we look at your temperatures over the next 15 days, you can tell that we do see them kind of leveling off, like I told you, around 85, 86, 87 degrees. And a couple of days could bump up to the upper 80s, but it does look like, for the most part, sort of mild for this time of the year. By the time we get towards that time frame where I told you the trough could be coming in, it does look like we will be looking at more comfortable temperatures like we saw over the last couple of days. Morning lows over the next 15 days, at least over the next week, look to be around average to below average, where temperatures will be in the upper 50s to low to mid 60s for the most part. And your rainfall, an eastern look at the view, you can tell where all of the rain is really originating from, and it does look like it all kind of cut offs once it gets into Arkansas, Texas, not Texas, but Louisiana and Mississippi, lower Tennessee, and that is really where Harvey will begin to really fall apart. Depending on the track, depends on what we will see, but weather, regardless of the track right now, I'm not really focusing on where Harvey goes because it really won't affect our weather too greatly, at least with impactful events over the next week. If we see any impacts from Harvey, at least rain-wise, it would be next week. So we'll talk about that in the next week's weekly weather briefing. A more close look-in view, you can tell that this is the Nashville view, and we are looking at mostly just from this cold front around a half inch to a quarter inch of rain for the most part. You can tell where it all kind of cut offs from those daily rain chances coming up from Harvey, 30 to 40% in most of Tennessee, with about a 20 to 30% chance of rain in our region just about every day this week. And I did want to show you guys an animation of Harvey because the satellite view images coming out of this with the GOES 16 satellite is just absolutely phenomenal. Watching it come on shore to Texas overnight last night, it does darken from where the nighttime came, but by the time the sun rose early this morning, incredible images coming out of there. You can tell the explosive thunderstorm development on these outer bands from Harvey hitting parts of Houston this morning and also parts of Galveston over here. So you can tell Corpus Christi also really getting in on this rain, and it is going to be something that is going to hamper this part of the country over the next week as it just kind of meanders around in the same area and really slows down and stalls out. So this is something that we haven't seen in a long time, if ever, where a strong Category 4 hurricane, now a Category 1 as of this morning, just sort of spins in the same area for a while and dumps as much rain as it is forecasted to over this part of the country. So some heartbreaking images, heartbreaking news coming out of this part of the country, and it's something that we're going to be seeing through the media department over the next week and even longer as we are witnessing history with this historic hurricane battling the southeast Texas coast, the first Category 3 or larger hurricane to hit the United States coast in over and since really 2005. So it's been a long time since we've seen something like that. So it's something that we're not really used to. Hurricane Matthew came very close to the Florida coast last year in the fall, but it never made landfall, so it never really had a chance to become something big as far as it hitting landfall and being a Category 3 hurricane or stronger. A major hurricane is defined as a Category 3 hurricane or stronger, but I know that this weekly weather briefing was a little fast and a little quick, but this is something that we haven't seen in over a decade, so I did want to spend a little bit of time on Hurricane Harvey, but you did get a little bit of a chance to look at what we are seeing for this upcoming week. And like I said, we will be posting an updated video for the September outlook on this late this evening as we look at what September could possibly have in store for us.